So, for context, my stepmom and I had a civil relationship for as long as we have known each other. But after my dad passed away, I don't know what reason, she started acting as if we had always been very close. And it's been pretty weird, and recently it started getting on my nerves. Basically, when I was 2 years old, I lost my mom to a car accident. My dad raised me on his own with a little help from my grandparents, and then, when I was around 15, he started dating Eliza, my stepmom. 2 years later, they got married, and Eliza and her daughter Jenny moved in with us after the engagement. I would say that I've had a normal relationship with them, but I'm not too close to them because by the time they got married, it was almost time for me to leave for college. So it's not like I lived with them at any point in time. Maybe a month or two here and there after I graduated from college and was looking for a job, but not more than that. And yes, I would visit on holidays and on weekends, and I would be there for birthdays and anniversaries and all other parties, but that was about it. Now I'm 27, so 10 years have passed since they became a part of my life, and I respect the fact that my father loved them, but beyond that, I don't think I need to have a relationship with them. They still live in the house that my dad lived in, and I do occasionally visit them whenever Eliza invites me for dinner out of respect. But the glue that held us together is gone now. I lost my dad 3 years ago to a cardiac arrest. He had been having trouble with his heart for a while, but he had been taking medicines for it. So in spite of that, it was all pretty sudden. But we had to come to terms with it. And at that point in time, because Eliza and I could really understand what it felt to lose somebody as significant as him, we did end up bonding a bit. That's when she started inviting me over for dinner, so that none of us would feel too lonely after his passing. And I really respect and admire what she tried to do. But there's a certain line that you don't cross. And I feel like starting last year, she and her daughter have been crossing it a little too often. For instance, she started making demands of me, which she never did earlier. In the beginning, it was just small favors here and there, like babysitting their dog on the weekends a couple of times or running a few errands sometimes, and that was fine. But then these favors started getting bigger. Like she asked me to help her cover the cost of renovating the house, which I really didn't think was necessary because it was fine the way it was. But because my dad had left me a lot more money than he had left the two of them, I decided to help them out. Besides, I have a job too, so it was not that big of a deal since I was just covering only part of the cost. But then, while the house was being renovated, she expected me to let her and Jenny move in with me and let her live with me rent-free because the renovations were making it impossible to stay peacefully in the house. Thankfully, back then I was living in an apartment and it was just not spacious enough to house them, so I had to decline, and they were not happy about it. But they didn't drag it out further and ended up staying with Eliza's parents until the renovations were done. After all this, she made it a habit to ask me for money here and there. And it's always been small amounts, but it's still very weird because as far as I'm concerned, Eliza is a working woman, and she might not be making as much money as I do since she's a teacher. But even then, it's not like she's totally broke unless she has terrible management skills, which I don't think she does. Besides, Jenny works too, so I find it strange that even though they don't have to pay rent and have two incomes, they still have to ask me for money here and there, even if it's for a small amount. But because we were building a relationship, I decided not to make a big deal out of it. However, last year, Jenny really did something that rubbed me the wrong way. Since then, I've been a little distant from them and haven't made any effort to build the kind of relationship that we used to have. Basically, I was going out for a weekend with my friends, and I mentioned this in passing to Eliza, who asked me if I would be willing to let her and Jenny stay the weekend at my place because apparently that week there was going to be a planned electrical outage in their neighborhood from 7 to 11, and it would be convenient for them to spend the night at my place. I was kind of skeptical about it. But then in the end, I decided to let them do it because what was the worst that they could do? I was wrong there because when I came back, my apartment was totally trashed and they were nowhere to be found. All that I received was a note stuck to my fridge, which was an apology from Jenny and Eliza, saying that Eliza had decided to spend the week at her mom's place. But Jenny decided to come over and she wanted to have a little party, but unfortunately it got out of hand and ended up snowballing into something bigger. She was totally drunk, and when she woke up she saw the mess and she wanted to clean it up. But she knew that I would be coming back home in a few hours, and she was so hungover that she knew she couldn't be done by then, so she decided to just leave it as it is and apologized. I called BS on that note immediately, and just to confirm, I decided to call my old neighbor just to find out if there was actually any sort of planned electrical outage in that area. And just as I had suspected, after reading that note, there was no such outage, and they had basically made the whole thing up. I never spoke to them about it because I just didn't think it was worth it. But I think it was planned to have the party at my house because Eliza probably didn't want a bunch of young, hot-blooded people in their early 20s getting drunk at her house and trashing it the way my apartment was. So that was quite infuriating, but I didn't want to pick a fight with them, so I just let it slide. And since then, though, I've been quite distant. I've only met them at parties and I've been civil and polite, but I've declined all the invitations for lunch and dinner that Eliza has extended to me after that incident because I don't know what she's going to ask of me next. And I think it's better for me to just not get involved anymore. So that was everything that happened in the past. And recently, we had a public falling out at my cousin's baby shower. It was a bad place to have this sort of confrontation, but well, it had to happen at some point, and the only thing that I regret is the time and place, but nothing else. For context, I recently became a homeowner after I bought my first house earlier this month. I'm very proud of it. I've worked very hard to get where I am today, and after my promotion a couple of months back, I decided that it was finally time. Just for the sake of politeness and civility, I had invited Eliza and Jenny to the housewarming party 2 weeks ago, and back then, during the party, Eliza did something very stupid. In an attempt to get me to talk about why I had been avoiding her, she started talking about how she misses me so much in front of everyone, and it was very awkward. But I didn't want to spoil the party because a lot of planning had gone into it. And I didn't want it to go to waste, so I said nothing. I just smiled and nodded and told her that I would visit as soon as I could. And I had been busy, so I hadn't been able to visit as often. You know what I mean. But then she told me that I shouldn't worry because now that I have a new house, she's going to be coming over all the time, and even started boasting about how she knows for a fact that if she even decides to move in with me, I won't mind because that's how much we love each other, which I think is a gross overestimation. And as if that was not bad enough, she put me on the spot by bringing out the duplicate key to the house that I keep under the welcome mat, a habit I picked up from my dad. And I'm guessing that's how Eliza was able to guess where I kept it as well. Anyway, she brought out the duplicate key, put me on the spot by saying that now that she has another key to the house and I have trusted her with it, she knows that I'm not going to mind if she chooses to visit whenever she can or even move in with me and stay for a couple of days because now Jenny is going to be moving out of state for work soon. And she's going to miss both her daughters, so she's going to drop by as frequently as possible. That sounded like a total nightmare because I'm a very private person. I'm a huge introvert. I didn't want that happening. So at the party, because I didn't want to create any drama, I just smiled and nodded along. But later on, I got the locks changed, and instead of keeping the duplicate key under the welcome mat, like I usually do, I had to find another spot just so she wouldn't be able to find it. So this is all I did, and I don't really think that I did anything unreasonable. If anybody else had been in my place, I suppose they would have done the same thing. But at the baby shower, when we came face to face once again for the first time after the housewarming party, Eliza was very upset with me. Jenny was not there with her. She's already left. So that was something that she used to her advantage while speaking up against me. She confronted me at the party in front of everyone, and once again she decided to put me on the spot by asking me if I had changed the locks on my house, because she had tried to visit me a couple of days back and it hadn't worked. Apparently, she had been trying to get into the house while I was away at work, so she could pay me a nice little surprise when I came back home, and she thought that I would be happy. But when she realized I had changed the locks, she started to think that maybe she was not all that welcome at my place anyway. And then she started getting very melodramatic and emotional, and I could tell that she was just doing this for effect, which was really annoying and super fake. Before this, I had tried to respect the fact that my dad loved her and that she was older than me and that she had been trying to build a relationship with me. But I think there's a certain limit to everything. And I hit that limit when she confronted me. I was very short with her, and I definitely had a tone. And I told her that if I was not at home, she should be trying to visit me anyway. And it was not a nice thing to be surprising somebody with. After all, I'm a grown woman. I need my privacy and I don't appreciate what she's trying to do. Obviously, she then started defending herself by bringing out the waterworks, and she started crying about how she was only trying to build a better relationship with me because now that my dad was not around, she still wanted to be able to hold our family together because Jenny and I were all that she had. That's true to a certain extent. Her husband has never been in the picture, so after her mom, Eliza only had Jenny and my dad. But I wouldn't say that I'm a part of that picture, like I said. By the time Eliza moved in with us and became a part of our family, in the true sense of the word, I was already leaving for college, so I didn't get to spend that much time with her. And she also never put in that much of an effort with me and never really tried to treat me like her own daughter until my dad passed away. And I was fine with that as well. I never had an issue with it. But for her to try and portray it as if I was being heartless by rejecting her now, that was just setting a false narrative. And I was not going to let that happen. But now, even Jenny had left because of better opportunities elsewhere. So the least that I could do for her was be there for her. However, what she was doing now was just being overbearing. And I told her what I thought straight to her face, that she expected a little too much from me, and it was just weird. Everything that I've mentioned in this post, I said it to her. And she started crying and saying that she was losing her family, and I was being so cruel by saying all these mean things to her. And it was just really bad. After a point in time, I was so embarrassed that I ended up leaving, because I honestly couldn't see the point of staying in a situation where I was basically just ruining somebody else's baby shower with my own drama, even though it was Eliza who had started it. Anyway, after I left, a couple of hours later, the messages and phone calls started pouring in. A lot of people were sympathetic with Eliza, mostly the older women and the family from her generation, because apparently, after I walked out, Eliza cried so much that she ended up fainting. I don't know if that was an act or if she really fainted, but I genuinely felt bad after reading that. I was told that I'm being heartless, and that I need to apologize to her because she was only trying to be there for me. especially now that Jenny has left. I'm the only one that she has, and I should appreciate that instead of being so cruel. That's what they had to say. But a bunch of my cousins, including the one whose baby shower it actually was, told me that I had done the right thing and that I should just ignore everybody else, and said that it was good for me to take a stand for myself after so long because they had noticed how uncomfortable Eliza had been making me for so long by being so overbearing and controlling. So now I'm basically in a situation where I do feel bad about what happened, but I don't think that I should apologize. And I feel like I'm in a dilemma regarding this. That's why I'm here. AITA for rejecting my stepmom's attempts to try and build a relationship with me because she was being too overbearing. Edit. Okay, so a lot of people had a bunch of questions about why Eliza was present at events that had nothing to do with her family and were on my dad's side of the family. So here's the thing. I don't like her much, but the rest of the family obviously does, and that's why they invite her to things. Besides, she had been with my dad for almost 10 years. 12 if you count the time period that they were dating and engaged. And he loved her a lot, so I don't think that my family wants to exclude her from stuff because she does get along well with a lot of them, especially with the ones who are around her age group. That's why they even texted me to let me know that I was wrong, because they are very close as friends. And I genuinely don't mind that because at the end of the day, she did become a part of the family, but I don't consider her close, and I think that should be fine as well. Why is that such a big deal? Why is it that everybody else in the family has the option to choose her and accept her into the family? But if I choose to keep my distance from her and have the same kind of relationship that we had before, while my dad was alive, then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy? She's not the only one who lost her husband. I lost my father too. And I think people are forgetting that. He was also my only family because while I do get along with my grandparents, it's just not the same. And I think people should know that. It's just sad that people are trying so hard to vilify me when I'm really not the bad guy here. I just feel really bad about it. Update 1. Hi, thank you so much for all the support in the comments. It really means a lot to me. So I have decided not to pay any heed to what everybody else has been saying, because at the end of the day, I know that the people who are on my site are the ones who actually matter. If somebody wants to fall for her drama, then that's on them. I don't have to fall for it as well. And if this is an incident that is going to make the rest of the family cut me off, I'm totally fine with that as well, because they've known me for a lot longer than they've known her. And if this is what they think of me, that I'm a heartless and cruel person who doesn't care about anybody else's feelings, then clearly they don't know me. And if they don't know me at all, then do their opinions even matter? Yeah, exactly. That's the mindset that I'm choosing to go ahead with, because otherwise I'll get too caught up in worrying about what everybody else thinks, and I don't think I have time for that. I just had a promotion. I bought my first house, and I think it's time for me to just kick back and relax for a bit because I've worked very hard for a very long time. So I'm not going to let all of this get to me. Thank you so much for all your advice, guys. Besides, I do have my friends by my side. I have a bunch of members from my family as well who are on my side here. So I really don't think I have anything to worry about, because the people that I genuinely, truly get along with, my cousins, a couple of my aunts and my dad's parents, they're always with me. Why should I be worried about everybody else's opinion? I know for a fact that if my dad were around, even if he would tell me the same thing, that I should just trust my gut and go ahead with what I really believe in. This is what I believe in. I believe in having boundaries, and I believe in not letting anyone overstep and have their way all the time. If that offends people, then so be it. They can believe that I'm cruel and selfish and heartless, but they don't know how much I've helped Jenny and Eliza in the past couple of years after my dad's passing. And neither am I interested in letting them know. I did not do that to get brownie points from other people and to prove that I'm a good person. I did that because I am who I am and I don't need to prove anything to anyone. Anyway, that's all I had to say, and I'm glad I was able to get this off my chest. Thank you guys once again for all the support in the comments. It truly does mean a lot to me. Update 2. Hey, so it's been 2 weeks since the incident at the baby shower, and because I've been ignoring everyone in the family, I guess Eliza decided that it was fine that she started another bout of this. I was at work in the morning, and during my lunch hours I started receiving a bunch of messages from my cousins, and it was just a bunch of screenshots from Eliza's Facebook page. I'm not on Facebook, so I couldn't see that, but she had basically posted a bunch of pictures of me and her from when we were younger, and my dad was still around. It was probably during the initial stages of their relationship, when they were engaged, and a couple of photos in the few years right after their marriage. I could tell because I was around 16 to 17 in those photos. And I remember that those photos were taken during our holidays together. We didn't go on a lot of vacations together because my dad had his own company to run, but whenever we did get to spend some time as a real family. And even then, though, Eliza and Jenny had their own thing going on, and my dad was definitely a part of their little family, but I never was. So even in those photos, I clearly remember feeling very awkward being lumped together with 3 of them when I knew for a fact that even if Dad thought that we were all family, Eliza and Jenny never did. And it showed on my face. I remember that for a fact. But Eliza doesn't feel that way because she posted these photos, and along with it, she had a caption that hinted at how kids can break your heart. I'll just paste it here and you guys can decide for yourselves if it's worth getting annoyed at or not. No mother is ever willing to believe that one day her child might be the one hurting her. Yeah, this is what she posted. And I think it's so weird because we've never been mother and child. I don't know what she's talking about. I've definitely never even referred to her as my mom, and neither has she treated me as her own daughter except for in past couple of years after my dad's passing, and even then, I think it was just because she wanted me to like her so she could get me to help her out whenever she wanted. I hadn't said it until now because I didn't want to cheapen our relationship by saying it out loud. But screw it. I'm pretty sure that that's the reason why she actually bothered to try and build a good connection with me, because otherwise, if she really valued me, she would have been genuine about the whole thing. This is not the way somebody behaves when they actually value and care for somebody else. And it's clear that she doesn't care about me because she's trying so hard to make me look like the bad guy, and she's even succeeding. From the looks of it, because the comment section was just full of her friends and a couple of people from my family trying to sympathize with her, so I'm guessing that she must have told everybody who would listen about what a horrible and selfish person I am. Well, I don't really care, and neither do I care about that post, since I didn't even bother to react to it in any way, because if I wanted to, I would have had to create an account on Facebook and then comment on it. And that was just way too much effort to put into something I didn't care for. She can believe whatever she wants, like I said, and so can anybody else. I know who I am. The people who genuinely love me know who I am. So as long as I have that, I don't really care about anybody else's opinion about me. It's just all irrelevant noise, that's it. And I know why she's doing this. She just wants to portray herself as the victim, gain sympathy online, and I don't know what she thinks is going to happen if she does all this. But I know for a fact that I'm not going to forgive her anytime soon. And the people who are on my side in this whole thing I'm pretty sure that they will also cut ties with her. I really hope that they do, because what she posted was just straight up weird and disrespectful. I guess it took me some time to realize that I was being used. But now that I have, I'm not a fool that I'll go back to her. A lot of people, even under my previous posts, had commented that she was just using me, and the only reason she was trying to be in my good books earlier was because she knew I made good money and she didn't want to spend her own money. So she will rely on me financially. I didn't want to respond to it. I didn't want to acknowledge it because it was such a horrible thought, but now I think it's the truth. And I think since she is going out of her way to be horrible to me, I think it's about time I believe these things, because she's showing it to me clearly that that's how she actually is. Update 3. Hey, so it's been a week and a half since my last update, and since then some things have changed. For instance, the post has been taken down, probably after some reasonable people from the family told her that this was weird and she shouldn't be doing it. So I'm glad that that happened. But even if she hadn't taken it down, I wouldn't have cared. It just showed how she is as a person. It doesn't reflect on me. But because she was taking that post down, she obviously couldn't let it go without guilt-tripping me some more. So she decided to get Jenny to text me, and basically Jenny said that she was very disappointed that I was treating her mother like this, when Eliza had been nothing less than a mother to me as well. Which again, I have to say, is just not true. It's a lie that they're trying to fabricate to make me look like the bad guy, but that's not how it works. I know how it's been, and I was fine with it, but if they're gonna be so blatantly dishonest about the situation, then I'm not gonna take it. I replied to Jenny and told her that she's never been a mom to me, and she never will be, just like Jenny's never been a sister to me. And I know for a fact that I have never been a daughter or a sister to either of them. So it's fine. We can stick to that relationship, and nobody has to go out of their way to make things weird. After that, I didn't want to interact with them anymore. I blocked all of them, and now I'm just done with the situation. Like I said in my previous update, I'm all about protecting my peace now, and I've worked hard enough in the past. I deserve to kick back and relax a bit. So I'm not going to let these people get on my nerves. I'm planning a weekend getaway, and I'm going to increase the security around my house just because I don't trust them at all. But yeah, I deserve a break from all this nonsense, and I'm going to take it. Again, thank you so much for all the support, you guys. It's very nice of you to be this supportive. Thank you. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.